So we just got back from Disney World this past weekend, spent about a day in each of the 4 parks. We had a good time, but in previous videos, I've said that theme parks are some of the best places to play AR games, and I might need to walk that back. They're still good, right? Like in Pokemon Go, there's plenty of Pokestops everywhere, a lot of flower buds and mushrooms to attack in Pikmin Bloom, if you play that. But I think something I realized this trip is that if you really care about playing these games efficiently, like if you're a free-to-play player or you don't spend that much money, theme parks make that playstyle pretty difficult, actually. Starting with Pokemon Go, let's talk about one of the biggest misconceptions, and that is that the Disney parks are lit 24/7 with lures. That is not true anymore. That does not happen. I think that used to be the case back when the game was new. In that first year, I didn't get to go, but I was always so jealous seeing lures running off into the horizon in people's like screenshots and videos that had been there. Even with the current 1-hour lure bonus we have now, I don't think I ever saw more than 1 or 2 lures active at any given point in any of the parks. You know, you'll just see one randomly go up, you know, some poor soul has been waiting in line for more than an hour and they've just opened Pokemon Go as like their last resort. I'm talking about myself. That was me. I did that a couple times. And before you say like, oh, well, Pokemon Go must be dead, right? Like Disneyland doesn't have any lures, even though it's like peak season in the summer. And listen, it's kind of unfair to compare anything to that launch year because like everybody and their grandma's dog was playing Pokemon Go in 2016. So yeah, of course we have less people, but there are still a lot of people playing this game in 2022. It's just that, you know, a lot of us are smarter now and we just save our lures. We're not going to use them if it's not an event. And the way that I can prove that is I was actually lucky enough or unlucky enough to witness Dino Community Day while I was at Hollywood Studios. And I can confirm people lit up the whole park. Every stop was lured up for those 3 hours, and even kind of in the 3 hours afterward. I was pretty hyped. I saw all those lures. I saw some pretty awesome cluster spawns right at 11 a.m. But of course, my group, who was not playing Pokemon Go, decided that was the perfect time to try to get on Rise of the Resistance, the most popular ride in all of Hollywood Studios, with a notoriously long line and built in a new part of the park that does not have Pokestops or natural spawns. What am I gonna say, right? Like, I'm the only one playing the game in my group, and we are paying to be here, you know, to go on these rides. Like, you should prioritize the people you're with and the experiences. So we got in line, and I tried to make the most of it. You know, about an hour in, I tried even doing a live stream, because fun fact, the Disney parks actually do have pretty good Wi-Fi. It'll kick you off sometimes, but it's not the worst. But yeah, I only got 3 shiny dinos by the end of it. And I named the 3rd one Ninja because, believe it or not, we actually did see Ninja in the Star Wars section of Hollywood Studios. Except that we weren't really sure that it was actually him, so we were just kind of joking about it in front of him while recording. It was pretty bad. We didn't realize it till after we had left that it was really him. So if you want to go watch that video, I'll link it below. But yeah, that was my community day. I guess it could have been worse. So the next thing that I would hear people rave about with playing Pokemon Go at Disney was like, dude, every raid lobby is fully stacked. You know, the gym turnover rate is insane. And yeah, I didn't see that. But there were probably a couple reasons for that. That might have been my fault. First of all, there just aren't as many gyms as you would think. And I actually struggled to even get into any gyms because a lot of them are Mystic, which is my team. And the ones that weren't Mystic were just absolutely stacked with like Blissies and Snorlaxes and stuff. I was never on a gym for long enough to like fully clear one out. And like, just because you're in the parks doesn't mean raids are gonna spawn any more frequently than they usually do. Not to mention, I think Niantic has a deal with Disney where they'll just shut off raids in the last hour that the park is open, just to avoid any kind of lingering raid timers that might keep people loitering in the park. It's not the best place to raid, in my opinion. I don't think I ended up doing more than like 1 Mewtwo in person, and we barely had enough people to do it. It's pretty much like local raids. Like, unless you're there when the egg hatches on the dot, you're not gonna get a full lobby. And again, I'm speaking as someone that's trying to play free to play as much as possible, so you might be thinking, oh, well, just remote raid to anything you see in the park. And yeah, I'm sure you can do that, but like, I have this huge stack of premium raid passes, dude. I want to use them. I did accept a remote invite though, and I did get a Hundo Mewtwo from that, so that was pretty nice. I can't write off remote raids completely. And yeah, the last thing is really just about the items. I think the only video I've made about Disney that I can still stand behind 100% is the one about balls. You will be drowning in balls. If you have an auto catcher or something, you're just going to be constantly dumping balls the whole trip. I'd actually recommend using this as a chance to build up your Ultra Ball stack as high as possible. I would just recommend deleting all of your Great Balls. You don't want to delete your regular Pokeballs because like that's what your auto catcher is using. Shout out to mine for grabbing 3 of the 6 shinies I got on this trip, which is more than I've ever gotten on a Disney trip, by the way. Sudowoodo I pulled from research, and then I got that second hat Pika at our Airbnb. I didn't even have my lucky hat with me, so I'm not even sure if this thing works or if it just has like a long distance buff. All right, next up, Pikmin Bloom. People still play that, right? Are the Disney parks good for playing Pikmin Bloom? No. No, they're not either. I mean, they were. Like when I was a low level, I went to the parks the weekend Pikmin Bloom came out, and that was actually pretty good. I mean, it's a great place to get steps, which is like your main form of XP in the game. But for literally everything else, the parks are pretty bad. I'm a pretty high level in Pikmin Bloom now. I've unlocked most of what the game has to offer. I'm basically just hunting decor at this point, and theme parks just don't offer that much value to a player in my position, right? Like, the only thing I can think of is that the monorail and some of the theme park trains actually get marked with the train station decor tag, which is pretty rare in Florida. Like, we don't have a lot of train stations or subways or anything like that. So that's kind of valuable, but keep in mind, the only way to actually get that decor to spawn is to use multiple detectors, and you only get to use 1 per day. And there's a good chance you won't even get the decor you want, even if you're standing right on the location. Oh, and to make matters worse, the weekend we went up, they had just updated the game so you use twice the amount of resources when you're planting flowers. So I couldn't do what I used to do, which was just try to keep a flower planting streak the whole day. That's just not possible anymore. You'll lose everything. I think the most you can keep a stack up is 2 hours if you have your party really small. It's a whole thing. Again, I'm gonna make a whole guide about Pikmin Bloom in the future. Just keep an eye out for that. You know, for all 5 people out there that play Pikmin Bloom. So yeah, the fact that your petals drain so quickly now, and the only way to get more petals is to get nectar, which you can only get once per day from the game's Pokestops or Flower Buds. Like, imagine if in Pokemon Go you could only spin each Pokestop once, and then you had to wait 24 hours. That's kind of how Pikmin Bloom works. And if a whole group of people bloom one of those flowers before you get there, you don't get anything. So you could show up to a park and everything's bloomed, and then you're out of luck. So yeah, maybe don't go to the Disney parks just to play Pokemon Go, and definitely not to play just Pikmin Bloom. Definitely don't do that. But if you're gonna be going anyway and you have an auto catcher and you're gonna be getting those steps in, like, you will get something out of it. You'll make some progress. It won't be very efficient, but hey, if you get a shiny or a rare Pikmin while you're there, that's pretty cool, right? I like getting the digital souvenirs. They're a lot cheaper than buying stuff at the gift shops. Although I will confess, I did buy another hat while I was up there. And yes, I'm wearing it. It's cool, I like it. It's subtle. We got the little Pixar lamp on the front there. Little pattern on the back. You got the Pixar text hanging out there. It's pretty good. I dig it. To be honest, I'm always trying to find WALL-E merch, and they just don't. They don't do WALL-E stuff. I don't get it. I always love talking about AR games in Disney, because inevitably, whenever I post videos about this stuff, people are like, dude, spending all this money to go to the parks, and he's just like on his phone the whole time. And yeah, fair enough. If that was true, that would be kind of lame, but these games are kind of designed to be played in the background. That's why they have these auto catchers, and that's why Pikmin Bloom can work even in the background. Like, you absolutely will get stuck in lines and stuck waiting around all the time at these parks. There's no lack of time to pull out your phone, dump your inventory, reconnect your Go Plus, all that good stuff. It doesn't take away from the experience too much, I don't think. Unless you're in a group of people that are playing, then, like, yeah, sure, you're at risk of maybe derailing some of your plans to go veer off and do a raid, but there are a lot of people out there still playing Pokemon Go. And I think even in Pikmin Bloom, I saw, like, 2 people sharing their location in-game. And to me, that's crazy. That's about as much as I can expect to see, like, in 2 months in my hometown. So yeah, if you have any fun stories about playing AR games in theme parks, I'd love to hear about those in the comments. And I don't know, depending on what you guys tell me, maybe I won't even go to Disney next time. Maybe Universal's where it's at? Busch Gardens? I don't know.